What's up, guys? It's the Blonde Broker here. I am at the FinTwit conference in Las Vegas. This is the second one that I have attended and kind of helped Jonah Lupton host. We had a really good turnout, and I just thought maybe I should do podcast episode 20 here. The Trading Chick and I are both tackling two different conferences. She's at one in Miami, I'm here, and we just wanted to give you guys a little taste of what's going on. I wanted to do some interviews of some really badass companies and let you hear from them personally, what they're investing in, what they think the future of the stock market looks like, and what their platforms do. So that'll be the rest of the video. As you guys know, we are sponsored by StockTwits. We freaking love this platform. Go check them out, download the app. You can also check them out on desktop. They're here at the conference, so I'll probably take a little video of their booth and their swag. But guys, you can trade your crypto on the StockTwits app. You can also check what's trending. Go ahead and make a watch list as well with what tickers you are interested in, whether you're looking at some EVs, some growth stocks, some small caps, you name it, put it on there, watch it. Maybe don't watch it, just hang out. I don't know. But yeah, check out StockTwits, baby. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kick off episode 20. But Trading Chick also loves you guys. Maybe we can add some of her content in as well. But there we go. Okay. What is up, Money Gang? I have found some new victims for our podcast to interview. This is Mike and Mel with Blackbox, and if y'all want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about Blackbox so our listeners kind of know what y'all do and where to follow you guys on Twitter, and yeah, let's start.
Okay, I am 7-Star Mike on Twitter, and Blackbox is basically, it's a system that shows us where the big money is positioning their capital. So whether it's stocks or options, we're watching these big hedge funds position their capital live, and the idea is basically to just follow them. So they typically have access to information that we don't have as retail traders.
Correct.
And whatever they do with that information, they obviously believe in their info if they're going to back it up with millions of dollars worth of an expiring options position. So we're just looking to basically do what they do and use their positions to copy with our own accounts.
Yeah, because more power to the retail trader, right?
Yep. You definitely want to. The way trading is evolving, you have over 40% of all common shares traded on a dark pool exchange. So knowing where some of those larger positions are in, think about sectors, right? Industry groups. More recently, we saw a lot of activity in all the semis. So it wasn't just one, like we normally think AMD or NVIDIA, but when you're seeing every name in a sector starting to get money flow, when you're seeing the ETF that covers that, when you're seeing the leveraged ETFs, that's really a space that you want to be watching for a directional move, because when you have an industry group all together, those are usually bigger moves. Also with options flow, very much, even if you are a newer trader, you want to have some familiarity with it, understanding the options market, because it is just progressively getting bigger and bigger. Think about, our parents years ago. Options was used as hedging. I have a big fund, I'm going to get a little put protection before going into an ER. But now think of you and I and how we're trading these bigger names with smaller accounts to be able to provide us with some leverage, opposed to just trading common stock. I mean, how difficult would it be for the retail trader to be able to actively trade Tesla or Amazon with the pricing, that's a little bit larger. So being able to understand where there's positioning coming into the market, especially in these times where we've had just the bigger, more volatility and the bigger moves ups and downs, where are they putting their money? And that's going to be on a call perspective, and a put perspective. It's not just one directional. We're able to capture several, of those moves and the volatility. And definitely, something we talk about each Friday on the Women of Wall Street show. So it's always nice to be able to get some of your perspective and some of the other ladies. So very nice to be able to touch base with you, Erin, and definitely look forward to catching up on Fridays for our women's
Yeah. So if y'all didn't know, Mel and I live trade on Fridays, Twitter Spaces. We either do in the mornings or sometimes we do kind of during power hour. And there's a good group of us. We're called Women of Wall Street, and it's really cool to see what the other girls are trading, because we're typically never trading the same thing.
Yeah.
But we have like a couple of hundred listeners that really value us kind of giving our input and live trading with them, and it's super fun. So us being together in person is kind of like it's a really sweet moment.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry.
It is definitely.
Don't care about you right now.
Definitely. No, a lot of relationships. Being able to have our second year FinTwit, and those are life lasting, right? It's so different when you can actually put a name to a face, and you just really start to like understand a person more. So love being able to touch base with you, and thank you for having us on the show.
No problem. And Sarah Strat Sniper's here as well, so she trades with us on Fridays. Wolf co-hosts. Wolf's running around. He's, I think he's like running the MC for most of the conference. But what sectors are you guys bullish on for the remainder of the year? I know we've been kind of beat down with growth stocks. This has been a tough year.
It has. It has for a lot of people. And I'm not going to try to identify that because these moves are happening so quick. And so I think you want to be more open to let's find a bottom, and we don't know when that's going to be. We don't know what that's going to look like.
This is a macro situation.
If we actually, once we get to the bottom, I don't think you're going to miss any of the upside. I don't think we're going to see that necessarily, that violent V shape that we saw coming through. And I'm just going to let money flow be my guide. This opens the way to new leaders, new sectors, and we just don't know what that's going to be, and it may not be the same landscape that we're necessarily used to. So I want to see where there's going to be larger money positioning that would kind of lead that way and let me know directionally where people have a lot more money than I do. I think the market's going to go. I'll let them do that, not me.
I'm going to let them do that too.
Yeah.
So you will see me using Blackbox in the future and probably talking about it a lot more.
Awesome.
And then what advice, so a lot of our listeners are beginners that are trading. Do you guys have any little tips or tricks or just some advice that you could give them?
Mike, I'll let you go.
The biggest thing is to really understand what you're doing. So there's a lot of data out there, and if you have access to data but don't understand what it's really telling you, it's just more trouble than it's worth. So a lot of people want the quick answer to how do I do this, how do I find that. There really isn't a quick answer. It's you have to put in the time to really understand what you're doing and what you're looking at. And access to a lot of data doesn't mean you're going to be a better trader. You really have to understand what it's telling you and how to utilize it. And if you're missing that component of it, you can have all the data in the world, it's just not going to help you out.
Yeah, block out the noise.
The biggest thing right now, I'd say, for new traders is you've got to be willing to put in a little bit of effort to really understand how to trade and why the markets do what they do, and understand you're not going to have all the answers. That's part of trading. We don't have all the answers. We're not always right, and learn how to manage the trades that you're in, and you'll survive any kind of wild swings that we're having.
True.
And then I do know, Mel, you day trade. Mike, do you day trade as well?
I'm day trading and scalping for the most part, and I will swing trade when those conditions arise, but right now we're just not, in the way I trade, I don't see the swing types that I'm looking for.
And I think it's important, I think we're used to, that's a common question, right? Are you a day trader?
Yeah.
Scalper? Swing trader? Investor? I think everybody's at that crossroad where they're kind of, reevaluating something. You've got to be able to respect that stop if that gets hit. And so that means your intention may have been to swing, but if you've got a good risk management plan already in place and you're like, this is where I'm going to stop out and let that just happen, you're not going to miss that trade. Right now, the environment is definitely more favorable with some of this wild volatility, the ups and downs, the range. It feels good to be able to go to sleep each night with some cash and be able to start again the next day. So whether that be up or down, we're going to be able to find some volatility and be able to stay green in a volatile market.
Okay. This is so weird, but your eyes are so pretty.
Oh,
I want you to zoom in on her eyes. She has the prettiest freaking eyes.
There it is.
Thank you.
People are gonna be like, "What? Erin is so weird." But no, I'm just like watching you talk, and I'm like,
I know. I was like, is something on my face?
No, sorry. I'm like, they're so green or blue, so pretty. And then I guess what are your favorite indicators to use when trading?
It's going to be price and volume, and really that money flow. It really is just some of the reversals you can see, just some of the moves that we see based off of that money flow coming in. That is really where I'm more focused. I'm really
money
easy.
flow Mel. That's literally
really easy here. Really easy here. Price and volume. That's my bigger thing. I mean, I'll throw a VWAP on there, be able to, but I really want to see the money flow. I've got to be able to see something coming in there. I'm not just randomly looking at any chart and just trying to pick a best spot. I'm wanting to see, where there's positioning, and those sectors are really important, that kind of analysis. Something that I've been really kind of paying attention to see if we end up getting new leaders, new sectors that are going to take us up in this next, turn in the markets, and just wait until that happens.
We are rolling. Okay, so we are back doing another interview for you guys today. I'm joined with Muji from Hypergrowth, and he's gonna tell you guys a little bit about what Hypergrowth is, how to get involved, and I'm super excited to see you again. I saw you last year at the FinTwit conference, and we had a great time. You spoke last year, correct?
I did.
Yes, okay. I half paid attention, but love the speakers. This has been a great conference so far. We've had a really good turnout, and I hope we just keep continuing to do those. So you want to take it away and kind of tell all of our listeners what you guys do with Hypergrowth and how you got started, and how you can really benefit the trading community with your platform.
Yeah, so yes, this is the second FinTwit conference. It's been really fun, actually. The most fun is networking and talking to people. But yeah, so I'm not much of a trader. I'm more investor, but I am a longtime software developer that kind of understands the tech of tech businesses, and my blog and kind of the premium service that I built around it is explaining what tech companies do. And so this is companies in cybersecurity that are helping companies make web apps and mobile apps, and data and analytics play a big part in it. And so I got really good, decades of software development experience, got really good at explaining complicated technologies and boiling it down and explaining it to management and explaining it to customers. That's kind of the take I have in my blog, taking these complicated subjects like cybersecurity. What are these platforms actually doing? There's 5, 6, 7 different ways you can protect you have to protect your network, you have to protect your users, you have to protect your devices and laptops and your servers, your cloud infrastructure. So I kind of look over the landscape of those companies, find the ones that I think are best, that are growing the most, and that are the best longer term investments, find the trends that they're going to follow from here. What's going on in this industry over the next 2 years? Why is this an exciting industry? Cybersecurity, you can see that every day with the Colonial Pipeline hack affecting my life on the East Coast, where there was no fuel for a month. So yeah, it's just really interesting that to invest in these technology companies. I'm immersed in it and understand it, but I feel like my role is in boiling it down and explaining it.
And then if you could give us 5 companies that you've been invested in for a while, or just a few.
Sure.
What are those, and kind of why did you really think it was a good idea to kind of park some of your money there?
So certainly there's some trends that I follow, and that was the talk I gave at the conference this year, was, what are these, where are businesses going to go and where are they going to spend their money over the next 2-3 years? And what are the tools that they're going to use to get where they need to go? So this is just in how businesses run themselves. So data and analytics is a big one. Data keeps growing. I'm a business, I measure these things. Here's what I'm selling today, who's selling it. Here's my customer information. Here's the partners I deal with, the distribution, the inventory, et cetera, et cetera. That's a bunch of data that needs to be corralled so that the business can see what they're doing in real time versus a month later. And so Snowflake is a company I've followed quite extensively. Everybody seems to know about them that's following the tech industry, but they're a really interesting company in that they're building what they call the data cloud that can live across all the other clouds, but it allows sharing of data is one interesting aspect, where I'm a business, and normally I put my data in a database. I might use a SaaS service like Salesforce to track my customer information. Snowflake, you take the data from all those platforms and put it into one place in order to understand it. But then once you have it in one place, they've been able to allow companies to share that data, to sell that data, and buy that data. And so you can basically create pockets within your own database that you can share with others. Like, let's say you have a partnership with a business. You've got your suppliers of your business. You can all be sharing the same pool of data within their platform. A company like Lyft or some of those scooter companies were taking the data of, like, here's what happened in ride sharing in December, anonymizing it. You know, they don't want to give away their customer information, but they anonymize it and sell it to other companies that might be interested in it. So Snowflake's a really interesting one. I think there's continued growth in cloud stocks. The clouds keep growing, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and a company that, regardless of which platform any company might pick, a service like Datadog helps them look at what their cloud infrastructure is doing, what their applications that they launch on that infrastructure is doing. It boils down to giving a company vision over what it is they run themselves upon. And so as the clouds grow, Datadog continues to grow. That's a company I'm pretty interested in.
Datadog, okay.
And third, how about Cloudflare? This is a company I've followed quite extensively. They provide a service. If you have a web application, even like your podcast website, you create a specific website to sell your business. You create a web application around that, your e-commerce store, you're selling some service. You need protection over that website. Cloudflare serves as a way to protect over it so that malicious traffic can't reach your website. So they're like a protective layer. But because of that, they built an architecture that really spans the globe, and they're starting to go up against some of those cloud providers like AWS with this concept that you don't have to put all of your web apps in Alexandria, Virginia to service the globe. You can actually deploy it around the globe itself. And so they're just kind of uniquely positioned, kind of an exciting company.
I'll look into it. Cloudflare, they have a Twitter, correct?
They
For
have
their
a
company?
Twitter
I feel like
and
I've
a
seen
blog.
I've seen the Twitter.
They are, the CEO is also quite active on Twitter, but their Twitter mostly points to their blog. They are really prolific about writing. They said certainly they announce products. It's a little hard to follow the company through their blog because they blog about so much. It's an avalanche of information. And so that's kind of where a service like mine fits in. I sit and watch over that, try to separate the signal to the noise, condense down what it is they do, explain it. So, you know, I have a lot of subscribers that are generalists, that know how to read the numbers, know how to play the stock market, longtime investors, but don't understand the technology. That's kind of where I come in.
And then another good question that I think people will be interested in. What are you most excited for with where we're going with technology in the future?
A lot of things. It's you know,
Right?
I'm a long-time
excited.
software developer. I'm an investor, but I consider myself a technologist. I want to see where
I
technology.
consider you a technologist.
Yeah, I want to see. Well, to me, that there's a philosophy around that. In that, I want to see how technology betters humankind, right? And so, I actually worked in the kind of the energy side of things, green energy. And so, you know, I want to see where technology can take us with energy independence and climate change, addressing climate change. And so I'm pretty fascinated by things like EV technology. I don't invest in that direction. I tend to invest in software that I find can scale. Once you start adding, like I was a holder of Tesla, for instance. But Tesla has to deal with parts, factories, supply chain, distribution, inventory. The companies I follow don't have any of that. It's like a simpler model to run as software. You have a web application on the cloud. As your business scales up and you get success, you can scale in the cloud. It's infinite scale, conceivably, infinite in quotes there. But versus something like Tesla, you are manufacturing a car, you have to sell that same amount of cars the next month and the next month and the next month. And they're having a lot of success there. And there's certainly other aspects to that company like AI, robo-taxis and stuff that might be exciting. But I tend to stay out of as an investor, out of physical goods, out of consumer names where I feel like consumers are really fickle. As far as technology goes, though, I'm quite fascinated in it. Where is AI going to take us? There's a lot of tools that are helping automate human activities that I find interesting. It's allowing people to be, like, from a work and enterprise perspective, be more productive. They say that software is deflationary, and by that they mean that software can make your employees more productive. So if you have to reduce staff, for instance, in a recession, you can buy a tool to make your employees more productive. You can buy a service that you can eliminate staff because you have that. Your software can do it for you. But the technologist in me wants to see us address climate change, wants to see how we can better humanity, move towards energy independence. I think is one of the it all combines into, I mean, it's even like a national security issue for us at this point. Energy independence. There's wars going on over oil over the past several decades. So the technologist in me wants to see how how can we improve battery performance? How can we improve solar performance to achieve less oil dependence?
What's your opinion on Microsoft?
They're such a weird company in that, being a software developer, they really ruled your world.
That's why I was curious.
But they developed the operating system, Windows. They developed a lot of coding tools in order to make applications on Windows. They made Office, which had all your employee productivity tools and documents and spreadsheets. So they really ruled the corporate world in terms of software. But under former leadership, they really dismissed the cloud and ignored it for a long time. When they changed leadership, their current CTO is fully embraced it, and they become the next AWS because of that. They're also in gaming. I tend to invest more in companies that are focused on a specific industry, and Microsoft is so wide, but fascinating company, and I want to see what they can do with their cloud, in particular Azure. Is the most interesting part of the company to me.
I do as well. So then what do you think about the Metaverse?
Fascinating.
Right.
And certainly I follow companies that are related to that. Not that I invest in them, but Unity being a big one that I follow along with. And I like those kind of companies like Unity that are let's say the picks and shovels, the tools you're going to use to build the metaverse. But I think it's a little bit, you have to, I don't know, it's a little bit of a guessing game in terms of where the technology is going. Mm-hmm. I love talking about this stuff as a technologist. As an investor, on the other hand, I want to see it establish itself. I grew up in the era of technology battles, like VHS versus Betamax. Oh my gosh, this is probably like way before your time. I'm old, people. I'm sorry. But companies, it was like Sony versus the rest of the industry. Everybody thought Sony was going to win, and it's a relic of the past. It never took off. And so every company has their vision of what metaverse really means. It's a virtual world. It's going to have sales. We need a currency within it. It's going to obviously involve gaming. Is the big push in metaverse right now. but every single one of the companies that are in it are going to have a different vision for what Metaverse actually means. It's not really a defined thing. There is a person I follow on Twitter called Matthew Ball that I find pretty fascinating and has the broader view of kind of maybe the investment view of what Metaverse would be that I would recommend if you're interested in the topic.
Matthew Ball. We'll put his Twitter handle up here.
But he, it's undefined at the moment, and I want to see a company having success rather than guess at what's going to take hold within there, especially because Metaverse is consumer facing. Consumers are fickle. Netflix was in, Netflix is out. Peloton was in, Peloton is out. So it's really hard to play those, what is going to take off from the consumer's mind. You have a company like Meta that's going to completely double down on Metaverse, try to even maybe make their own coin for it. But, they're taking what they were in social media and now double, triple, quadrupling down on that they're going to own the virtual world. So you're going to have a lot of players that are trying to define it. I want to wait for who's going to have success with it before I invest in it personally.
Right. I'm excited.
As being a human being and a technologist, it's very exciting. I'm actually quite used to virtual worlds and Twitter and online forums and stuff, so it's exciting from that perspective.
We're in 2022. I can't wait for 2025. Maybe 2030, where we're going to be. I don't know, are we going to be able to have our houses backed by Bitcoin? What are we going to be able to do in the Metaverse? How far advanced is Microsoft going to be along as the, big guy? But it's exciting. So, no, I think this was a great interview. I think the conference just let out for lunch.
It did. Wow. Crowds. Perfect timing.
So, well, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to put this on YouTube. And do you want to say anything else to everyone about hypergrowth?
Well, sure, yeah. So I have a blog. My service is called Hypergrowth with 3 H's at the beginning. Hypergrowth, if you want to say it out loud. And that's my Twitter handle, @Hypergrowth, 3 H's at the beginning. And my blog, I publish content talking about tech companies once a month, and I also have a premium service where I talk about it once a week. And so if you want to talk more about tech, come join me.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Just get going. Okay, hi everyone. Blonde Broker here. I'm joined with Steven at the 2022 FinTwit conference. We're at the Aria Hotel, and I just stole him for a few seconds because he was at the last FinTwit conference that we hosted, and you are the youngest trader that I know of and the youngest trader attending any of these conferences. He's amazing. I got permission from his dad to steal him for this interview, so thank you. But yeah, I just kind of want to ask a couple questions, and then we'll, let the audience know who you are, and I guess we can just go ahead and get started. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself first? How old are you?
I'm 13. I like sports, like basketball in specific. I've been doing stocks since about 9 or 10.
Wow, so that would be, the last 4 years then? 3 years?
3.5.
3.5. Okay, and were you kind of studying when you were younger?
Before it, I know my dad used to play Squawk Box and all those stuff, and I used to always see him on his computer, and I was always interested for 7 months, I was looking at all that stuff, and then eventually he decided that he'd give me a chance and give me a stock account. From there, that's basically how it started.
Awesome. And then how do you think you've done so far? Do you love trading?
Yeah, I started off somewhat investing. From there, I learned about options, and then I did swing trading and stuff like that, and I made about 1,000% in 1 year.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then from there, I made 1,000% the next year.
You're better than me.
And then this year, I'm down about 40%, but that's how the market's been going. But I guess that's how it's been.
And then what have been some of your favorite stocks?
Overall, some of the best stocks I've dealt with have probably been, I made a lot on Tesla. I did some options on those. Google, I had it. So I think it was in August of last year. It was at $1,500. I bought these $2,000 options for December. It was at $1,800, I think, by October, or $1,900 or something like that. And then this option soared up $100, and then I had a lot of those. Then I think I ended up making 800% returns on those.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's better than what I did. So you think Tesla was a pretty good stock for you in Google?
Stitch Fix I did. Stitch Fix is probably my best stock that I did in terms of buying the shares, because I think I bought it at 20 and I sold it at 40. Oh, I also did good on Lucid. Bought that at 19 and sold that 55.
Did you jump into Lucid when it was CCIV?
Yeah, I did that. And then I was in it. I had a decent position in that. I was gonna invest in that, but it jumped up so quick, and I didn't think it. With it not making that many cars, I don't think it was a $60 company. So when it hit 60, I sold it.
Yeah. So you sold at the top then.
Yeah, and then I dropped it there, and then maybe in the future I'll reconsider it, but I needed to, but I want my kind to get a little bigger, and I don't want to buy for anything over 25, because it hasn't really done that many sales.
Yeah, they missed production dates. So are you?
We actually have one of the 300 Lucid cars.
You guys have a Lucid car?
Yeah, in one of our homes.
Okay. That would be.
That's why I kind of believe in the company, because I know the car's nice and stuff.
They're very nice.
But at the same time, they did 500 cars, but they had to do a 200 or 300 recall, I think it was. So that's why I don't think it's a.
So do you guys have the Lucid
company.
Air?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I should ask if we can do a little video one day. I don't know. It's not here, but that'd be really cool to see your car, or if you want to send a video of your car. That's really neat.
It's in a vacation home though, so
Okay, vacation home. Damn. Okay, well, let's do a few more questions. Are you pretty bullish on EVs in general?
It depends what type of company, I guess. On Tesla, I'm pretty bullish on. So the thing about Tesla is I really think it's a good company, but it's more an investment in Elon Musk rather than an investment in the company. I do think it's a good company, and while people think it is $100 billion company, I disagree. I think it's worth $400 or $500 billion, because not only are they an EV company, but they're also a battery company,
right.
Solar company, which people don't really think about that. But Elon Musk, yes, the company is basically having a market cap of $1 trillion, but that's also coming with an investment in Elon Musk.
And everything else that he has.
Theoretically, yes, if he did die, that company will probably go down to $100 billion, although I think it should be worth $500 billion. But in terms of him not dying, I think that stock will probably continue going up.
Hopefully Elon doesn't die anytime soon. But that is what happens when a company makes one person really the face of everything.
But that's all companies. If this main CEO is fired or quits, all the companies go down. I think Chewy had their CEO step down about a year ago, and they went down 10% or 20% that exact same day.
So with Tesla, do you think Kathy Wood's price prediction is crazy? I think it was $3,400 or $4,300. Do you think that's kind of outlandish?
I think with splits and everything, eventually it'll end up going there, but not $3,400 exactly. I think it'll end up
this year.
When it splits, it's gonna probably go to 500, and then theoretically somewhere it's gonna go to 700, 800, which is technically equivalent to the 3,400.
Mm-hmm.
But theoretically, I don't think it's gonna do that in a year or two. I think maybe it'll do that over the period of time of maybe 4 to 7 years. I know that's pretty vague, but
I love this little setup. I'm trying to make sure the camera is at a good angle. Okay, and then we've done a couple minutes. Let me ask you one question. You're so young. I think it's fantastic that you're trading. I didn't get started trading until I was 24. So that was just a couple of years ago. What would you say to other young traders, if you could give them any advice or a few words?
A couple things is, as much as you may like a company, it's not always the best idea to invest in what you like. Like, don't have too much emotion in it. More like invest in or trade with good companies that you know are profitable and you know will end up going up. Also, in terms like, don't be afraid to get started. Like, do your best, and eventually, and I guarantee you that the more you learn, the better you'll end up doing. Like, first year I only made about like 40% returns. Second year is when I started making like 1,000. Third year I made about the same thing, and then fourth year I'm down, but like,
We're all down.
yeah.
This has not been a very kind year to us traders, especially if you're trading crypto right now. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Theoretically, if you're like doing anything, it's going down.
Yeah, it's kind of, we've called it from, I think, December when we started the podcast to really be cash heavy. So if you did that, I think you're kind of in a good position. If not, we will be saved. I think it might take a while. We don't know when, but well, this was a good little interview. Thank you for agreeing to do this. It's just awesome. I think he's a fantastic kid. I think you have a bright future, especially since you're doing this. And you're here at a conference, and the average age of this conference is like 50.
I think it's kind of gotten a little older.
It's gotten old.
Because like I guess like people, like a lot of young people probably lost money and they didn't want to come.
Yeah, it's true. I believe you. Okay.
Hi everyone, we have a very exciting announcement for you today.
If we hit 100,000 subscribers by August 26th, one lucky fan will have a chance to hang with us in New York City.
It gets better. You won't be coming alone, you'll get to bring a friend.
We'll fly you both first class, stay in a dope hotel, and go on a double date.
With us at one of New York City's most exclusive restaurants. We will sugar mommy the whole thing.
We have fun activities planned for the entire weekend, including $5,000 to each of you in any currency you choose.
So hit the subscribe button and we can't wait to see you in New York.